Hello, and welcome to the 211th edition of Beer Issues. My name is Matt Brucker, and I'm coming to you live here from Casa de Brucker. We're going to be having another great beer today, and we're going to be doing a local beer today from Three Odd Guys Brewing. Yep, I finally made it to the brewery. So I picked up one of their Chief's Horsefeather's Blonde ales. So I love a good blonde ale, so let's kind of talk about this beer. Now, since they are a relatively new brewery, they don't have any ratings available on any of the major sites, but if you look at Untapped, they get a 3.9% on Untapped out of 5 for this beer. And we've talked about Untapped ratings and how, they're not always, I wouldn't say 100% accurate, because it's just anybody's opinion of the beer. They're not experts that are looking at the particular style and things like that. But I really enjoyed this blonde, so I thought I'd bring it to you guys and let you try it. Try and get a little bit more head on this beer. Okay, so we see we do have some good carbonation, and it retains. The beer clocks in at 4.7% alcohol by volume. And like I said, 3.9% is a very, very good rating for Untapped, because there's a certain amount of people that just aren't going to like a beer because it's not what they like. So now when I smell this, I am smelling definitely some like Pilsen or Pilsner type malts in there. And then there's the bready, I don't know if that's coming from the Pilsner malts, it might be, but it's definitely a bready scent. And then I do get some hops, but it's a very light hop in there. And I think it's because they use, from what I remember, the Willamette and Centennial hops. So it's not going to be an overpowering hop. When I look at a blonde, okay, there's like a Belgian blonde ale, and then there's an American blonde ale, okay? Typically, an American blonde ale is going to be a lot more hoppy, as to where a Belgian blonde ale is going to be a little bit sweeter, okay, from the malts. Just a difference in how they make the beer. A lot of beers are that way. Brown ales, barley wines. America feels like they have to put tons of hops in everything, as to where, overseas they're not as big a hop heads as America is. Now, I like hops, don't get me wrong, but I don't want to overpower all my beers with hops. If I'm going to drink hops, I'm going to drink hops. If I'm going to drink non-hops, I'm going to drink non-hops. A blonde, to me, and the first blonde I ever enjoyed, was, this glass says it all. It's a Leffe Blonde, okay? And a Leffe Blonde, and it's a Belgian beer, not hoppy. It's got a sweetness to it. It's just a great everyday drinking beer, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. So I tend to gravitate towards blondes that are not hoppy. If I wanted a hoppy beer, I'd order an IPA. That's just my opinion, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and drink this, or taste this here real quick, and just confirm what I remember from when I had it, which was a few weeks ago. Perfect. So when I say perfect, what I'm talking about is the way they balance this beer. They're using like a Pilsen or Pilsner type malt, which is giving me a bready, I think that's what's giving me the bready taste. There's a sweetness in there, which I believe is caramel malts. Then they're using those hops, the Willamette and the Centennial hops. But the hops, Willamette hops, are frequently used a lot of times in like German style beers. So they're not a really overpowering hop. And then the Centennial hops are a little bit more prevalent here, but the combination of the two is nice with the amount of malt between the Pilsner type malt and the caramel malt. So it's a nice blend, and it's not hoppy. I say it's got these two hops in there, but the way it blends in there, it gives no hoppiness. As a matter of fact, my wife, who doesn't like the hops at all, she likes this beer, and she actually liked their IPA because it's not a hoppy IPA, or at least the one that we had was not. Now, I would be doing a disservice if I didn't read in here that they kind of gave a shout out to Paul Chief Ivy, who I believe is who Chief's Horsefeathers, which is the name of the beer, Chief's Horsefeathers, Blonde Ale. And apparently he was a boatswain mate, which I think a boatswain mate is somebody who works to keep the ships going, like in the Navy. They're the ones that are kind of responsible for making sure the ship keeps running. So an important gentleman. Apparently he's passed, and they kind of did this to him. I don't know that much about him, so I'm not going to speak out of turn. But he was a chief petty officer and boatswain mate, and his name's Paul Chief Ivy. Must have been a great guy if they named a beer after him. That's all I got to say. So anyway, I wanted to make sure I pointed that out, that this was beer dedicated to him. Okay, and a fine beer, a fine job they did of presenting, making a beer in your honor. Yeah, it's just a drinkable beer. Not too malty, not too hoppy. A lot of malt flavor, but not too much because I like the malts. The hops are so light that it almost just blends in with the beer, which for me, that's kind of perfect, okay, and my styles of what I like. I give it a double thumbs up if you want to do a double thumbs up for another local brewery that's making good. So that's two that I've tried from them that I've done beer issues on. We did it on their I think it's the Fence Check Brown Ale, and then we have done this one. So definitely good job, guys. Very tasty beer. I will definitely be back. I wish Popco was a little bit more convenient. It's a little bit of a hike. I live over here in Oviedo. Or otherwise I'd swing by more often. But you guys make sure you check out Three Odd Guys Brewing. Got some really tasty beers. This is one of them. And I've noticed if you like their IPA, I've noticed that the local mellow mushrooms, I've been to more than one that are carrying the Three Odd Guys IPA on tap. So make sure you check that out because they're at the Mellow Mushroom, okay, which is a great place for pizza. If you haven't had it, I recommend it highly. Now, if you've enjoyed this, make sure you tell your friends about beer issues and how much fun we're having talking about good beer and local beer. And make sure they tell their friends so everybody knows about how much fun we're having talking about beer and drinking great beer. And if you want any cool merchandise like Beer Issues hats, t-shirts, phone cases, bags, fanny packs, you name it, we got it all, Beer Issues. Go to shop.beerissues.com. And as my wife likes to say, I do have beer issues.